Okay, welcome back everybody. I decided to go ahead and dress this antenna up because when I get this thing done over here, I'm going to be ready to fire this thing back up. So anyway, what I did is I just used some small wires and I color coded it. The green will be going to the grid. Now I wanted to make sure I had a little extra. You don't want to get piled up in there because of the stray capacitance and inductances, but I also wanted to be able to take it loose and fold it down to where that you don't break the wire if you just want to look in the chassis. So I'll leave just a little bit of slack there. Also color code going back onto the pins. If you'll notice, I used some the clear heat shrink tubing that Michael from That Tube Sound sent me in the package with this radio. I guess he foresaw that I was going to need some. He picks it up at Rayalco. It sounded like a cool store. I just wish we had something like that around here. But then I used a purple wire to go to the external antenna, and I just used some tape around the antenna for some strain relief. But we'll set this off, and I'll check this to make sure it's still working, because that would be the last thing I want to do is put it back on and I had a bad connection or something. So well, let's dig in this chassis now. I blew off all the fuzzies off of it and got to looking, and I want to get either I thought about covering the speaker up to keep from running the finger through it, but I just feel like that it's going to be better to remove this underneath the chassis. As you can see, it's very, very crowded, and also some of the wires, this is cloth covered, so it's going to be okay right here, but there's a lot of rubber wire in it, and I just going to have to do some work in here. Going to have to replace the caps, and it doesn't really concern me, but this needs to be addressed, and also all this rust on this cap, the condenser, this and if I remove the speaker, the problem that I have, since this is such a miniature set, the condenser is pop riveted. The brackets are pop riveted onto the chassis itself. So what I'm going to do, now fortunately the very front one, and you can't really see it down in there I don't think, but the condenser is screwed to the front bracket. So if we take this off, take the tuning knob off, heat that up with a good soldering iron, and remove that screw, this condenser should come off, and then we can clean it, and then from there we can go work on the IF. Looking at the dial, it's fairly simple. And maybe I can get it in there to where you can see it. It's a metal spring, just like a knob would be, and it's a D-shaped shaft, so it should come right off. And since this is generic, no numbers on it, it should be good. That's fully open, and that's fully closed, which I need to keep it thereabouts, especially handling it. There's not many places to handle. The dial cord is very straightforward. There's a spring here that gives tension onto the dial cord, and it has 2 turns of the dial cord, and then it goes back up and around and attaches with a loop here. So I think all we've got to do is take that off, pull this off, and we'll be good with that. So let's see if we can get that off. Gotta really be careful. Let's go with the spring first. Let's see if we can get in there, and well, we want to turn. But taking these things off, okay, there's 1, 2, and then this should pop right off like that. Now we can take these 2 screws off and heat this, and that condenser should come off with 1, 2. There's 2. Let's see if I can get a wire. There's 2 wires coming from underneath, and we'll just clip those for now. And I don't know if you can see or not, but that one right there is rubber and it's already cracked. So let me do that off camera. I'll go ahead and cut some of this stuff and get it out of the way. But before I do that, let's go ahead and get this speaker out of the way, or old Big Fingers is going to I should have done this a long time ago. Alright, that's out of the way. Let's get the speaker off. Big Fingers don't need to run it through there. I've cut the AC power. It goes to the heater of the rectifier tube and also to the switch, and so we've got that out of the way. Look how slick that is. I just wonder if that got hot somewhere down the line. I don't know. Anyway, I went ahead and desoldered pin 3. Let's look at this. Pin 3, which comes from the pin 3, I'm sorry. It's the primary of the output transformer. And then on pin 4, there'll be the lead of the output transformer and also of the speaker field coil. So, and that's, I've already labeled the one off of pin 3, and so we're gonna see if we can. And I tell you what, guys, it's just going to be almost virtually impossible to do this without getting in the way. I mean, that's just, and I apologize in advance for that. I mean, I do it anyway with a big set. You know, it's okay if I'm looking at the screen and working through the screen, which I'm not. I'm trying to work and look in 2 different places. So, but that's loose. It's just really tight. Okay, that's out, and that is the field coil. I'm gonna have to hit. Well, no, I think I can get this out here. And this is the output transformer primary. The other one, the red wire, the other one was a blue wire. So let me label these. Okay, I've removed everything from pin 4. The first wire I showed you that was the, I thought was the field coil, or the speaker field. It was actually the other B plus tying to the 12 SA7 from this terminal. So I've got them all separated. I think this is the one that goes up there, and it goes through a slot, so it'll pull right out. It's not a problem. Now here's something that's just totally baffling me. Not well, I see what it's doing, but and let me see if I can get down in there. This is the hole through the chassis, and here's the two wires that went to the pin 3 and 4 to the output tube. Look at this. There's 2 that goes through there, and then it comes down to the speaker, the voice coil. And this comes from the transformer. Now, why didn't it come through this slot where it could all pull out the front? Instead it come through this. I don't know that this would, maybe this has to do with wire dressing, but it looks to me that it would have been a lot better to bring these wires another inch here and put it in that slot to come here, so the whole thing would slide out. But it is what it is, guys. Alright, I've disconnected the voice coils, and so now I've got to fish all these wires. Got them labeled and try to get this speaker out. Hopefully, and I'm going to sit down, so hopefully I can keep this within frame to do this and not get my finger through it. This hole is just, yeah, I'm going to have to do one at a time. And I'm sorry if the things are in the way, but it's just the nature. Alright, that come through. That's alright. After the first one, you're in pretty good shape. Make sure I've got them all labeled. And that's part of the power cord. So there's the speaker, and it's funny. These 2 wires go to here, and I don't understand why they just don't go straight to there and go underneath. I don't see any reason for them not to do that. You guys let me know. You think it's going to be a while before I put this back together, but do you think that's going to be a wire dress issue if I run it this close, or does it need to be shielded by that by the chassis itself? Let me know what you think. But let's take a look. I'll put that in a box. Let's see. Wow. Now I can start doing something with this. And you can see this wire. Look, we're going to have to do something with that. But once I get this off and start doing something with this, then we can get in here. I cut this to give me some more room to work. If you'll look here at what the size hole that you can't put a grommet in there. You can't. But there's that slot I was telling you about right here. The wires went down through there, or came through here, and then goes back up to here. So I don't know. I'll ask around some of my guys and see what they think. All right, let's work on this tuning condenser, getting it off. I've cleaned the speaker up a little bit and dressed up the wires. They were cracking, and put some heat shrink on them just to make sure that their integrity, so they're not going to be. They were cracking, so we're going to put this to the side. Cleaned up pretty good. I don't think I'm going to paint it. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. But I'm doing this stuff as I take it off so that when I put it back together, I won't have to wait. I can just put it back together. Okay, I've I've clipped the wires on the condenser and took the 2 screws out front. So I've got the big boy out. I've cleaned that connection there, so make sure we don't have any more junk than necessary. And I want to, and then we'll have to clean this up a little later, but we've got to get this hot to get this. Now, is it going to get hot, so hot that I can't hold it with my thumb here? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So as soon as I get it to where it'll release, then I'll be done with it. All right. Should be released. There we go. We got it out. And the trigger on my gun don't want to set the house on fire. That's not a good thing. But just looking. These are trimmers here. And that screw is rusted. So before I do any treatment on this, I need to take this apart and see if there's any mica in there and get that out. Just to be, and I don't know if I'm gonna see, what's this say? It says something on it. It's kind of halfway engraved. I don't know. Have to study it, but so let's take this apart and see what we've got. Okay, let's start with the good one. Yeah, I can see mica in there. I believe that whole clip will lift off. Ooh, come on. Okay, yeah. Yeesh. I'll have to really work on that screw. It's coming. Okay. Okay, I believe this clip right here will lift off. Let me get it on solid ground here. Maybe not. Maybe just corroded. Let me work off camera a little bit. That would not come off. It may supposed to come off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to very gently raise this. Oop. Take the pressure. I think I might be able to slide this mica out of here. I hope. Alright. Okay, it's sliding. Now let's see if we can get it out without killing it. There it is. Okay. Let's see if we can do something very similar. on this side. This one is yes, I believe we're going to be able to do this. Oops, there it goes. There it is. All right, we've got that off. I believe we're in good shape. I don't know if that's spot welded or if that's just corroded on. I don't want to break it for sure, but I've definitely got to address that rust. So, determining, do I want to put that all in a Vaporust? Let me think about this a minute. Okay, cleaned up the chassis a little bit, and I ended up painting this because it was just corroded so bad. But after I shined up the chassis, decided to go ahead and clean and paint the speaker. It made the speaker look bad. But now we get to flip this over and we'll get to digging in. I'm kind of curious whether or not I'm going to be able to put a fuse in the chassis itself, or if I'm going to have to go into the plug. But we will see. Hey, let's dig in underneath here. This is very tight quarters. I believe once I change these capacitors, I'll get a lot more space. Now there was some plugs here, and I'm trying to determine the power cord comes in here, and looking to see where I can put a fuse block. And so I bent the tabs of the plugs outward, except the ones adjacent to here, and I bent those towards the inside. So I'm hoping, and like I say, and I'm sorry about not being able to see all this stuff, but I believe there's going to be enough room here. This capacitor will be gone. Now these are sealed plastic, and they may be okay, but these have been changed in the past, I believe. So I've still got to go through here and check the resistors and change these capacitors out. And I'm hoping that I'm going to have enough room down in here to mount the filter caps, even though that's right under the transformer itself. But I think I may be able to get some. So what I'll do, I bent this up. There's a screw that'll come in here, but I don't think it'll be any problem. But I will rough this up on the bottom. I'll also rough this up, and then I will apply epoxy right there. Now, this is Thanksgiving. Well, now it's noonish. We don't have our Thanksgiving dinner until dinner time. So I've gotten able to work a little bit this morning on it, but that's how we're going to go right there. And just this end will go to the power switch. This will be the AC coming in, and then the AC will go to the other side also. So that's the plan. So let me rough that up and see if we can't get that set. I've used my Dremel. It's a Ryobi, but it's everybody calls it a Dremel. And I scored that, and also scored down in here. Now I've mixed up my epoxy, and you want to make sure your epoxy is mixed very, very good. So anyway, I always like to put it on both, and I think it calls to put it on both surfaces. So you don't have to have a whole lot, just have a good Okay. A little David Gates on the radio this afternoon. So let's. You don't have to score it a whole lot. Just get a rough surface to put it in, so that by scoring it, by roughing it up, what you're doing is you're adding surface area. More surface area is all you're doing for the glue to adhere. Let's put this in my garbage. All right, now let's see if we can get this placed in there where I want it without making a big mess. And you want to wipe all this off. Okay. Now let me get my very expensive clamp and put on it. And I try to make sure it's kind of square in there. And now to let that set for a while. If you send me a personal message, I'll tell you where I got this expensive clamp. Okay, the glue has set. I've got that in place. I've gone through and I've checked the resistors. I'm having trouble finding this one, but I will. I'll keep digging. And so anyway, just something that I do, guys. You got your own system, whatever. When I go through and I check a component, I'll highlight it. Well, if I highlight it green, that means it's within 20%, and I'm good with it. The other one is if I do it pink, then that means that it's out of 20%, and that I need to decide whether I'm going to do anything with it. So that's just me. But this video is running about a little over 20 minutes. I try to keep them less, but I want to show you. You tell me this is not a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know if you can see that or not. That is part of an IF coil that's underneath. You can see that's the wire. That's how it's just sticking out in front of, just hanging out there. I've got to be real careful. I'm going to try to do something to protect that, move it or something there. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. We'll go and we'll do the recapping and changing of the resistors, and then we'll look at it from there. And so anyway, from the hills of Tennessee, this is Larry. Thanks for watching.